episode of Power Rangers. I was gonna say Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I
uh,
always say it's called once and always, but I always end up saying now and forever.
that's not
Whatever.
oh, isn't it now and forever?
No, it's once and always.
Oh, I need to change the names then.
What?
Oops. As always, I'm your host, Joseph, keeping it locked and loaded with information for you. And as always, there's Javis, the Hufflepuff of all the Huffles.
Sounds like an
Um,
R&B album.
yeah, I
All
guess
right,
because
now
I
and
mean I've
forever.
I've tried. It's just, but to me that's probably now and never. Um, let's get exactly where you stopped off at with Brian Cranston and Billy Cranston, sorry. And all the things that he did. I this episode of Power Rangers was the hardest thing for me to watch as a big fan of Power Rangers that watched it when I was a kid. Because as Power Rangers has grown, it's gotten better. The best series, in my opinion, still is Power Rangers RPM, which you haven't seen. But I'm sorry, I drank a ginger ale, so I'm burping a lot. But excuse me. The thing is, the acting has gotten better. Some of these actors have gone on to do great things and be in other movies. You had Lightspeed Rescue, the
Yes.
black guy in that went on to be in what's that the movie with Beyonce in it,
Uh, Dreamgirls. He was in
Dreamgirls.
Dreamgirls.
So he was in that. And the list goes on and on about so many others who have been in so many other shows and actually have become something in their careers because it's gotten better with time. And then you watch the old episodes, you can see that they're actually pretty good as well. Um, there's something that was just weird that bothered me because these people were in this series, and when they acted in the original series, they were really great actors. And then when I see this version, it was not them acting at their best, and it bothered me. And I know you're going to have a back and forth with me about everything that I'm going to say, but step one is the camera shots weren't as good as the original Power Rangers. The set wasn't as good as the original Power Rangers. The acting, except for Rita and Alpha 9, wasn't as good as the original show. And it's like the list just keeps going on and on. Um Hip Hop Keto. I gotta I need a moment for Hip Hop Keto because it's just I know what he's doing, and it's great. It to me it looks like, hey, we're gonna continue right where we left off with Power Rangers and give you guys that. And this is for the original fans who watch the show. It's gonna be the original actors, probably the original writers, the original directors. Everything we can do that's original, we're gonna put in there and give you that. But you did not answer any of our questions that I felt was needed to begin with. One, what the heck is a Yellow Ranger doing on the spaceship when she went back in time to Africa? How did she get back? Shouldn't she be old or dead? Billy was old. What happened to him? How did he get himself young again to be the same age as all the other Rangers instead of being older? He had to stay on another planet in order to live. How is he back on Earth? What's the explanation of that? And if he's back on Earth, what is he doing? He has his own full business, but he's dedicating all his time to bringing Zordon back. The one thing Zordon said not to do. It's like you said, we're fans of this show, but people who are the true fans have so many questions of why they chose the route that they chose. It didn't make any sense to me because I'm confused more now than ever. Okay, now we have the Yellow Ranger in space. How did she get there from being thrown back in time and then sending another person in her place back to get the? Because remember, everyone had to go get the Zeo Stone
Uh-huh.
in the Zeo Power Rangers. She had to do that, and she was a kid. But she was like, I'm sending someone else back in my place. And we're like, oh, we don't want to see you go, but we understand. And then she goes. And I'm like, okay, that was a great send off. How are you back? Explain that. Say something weird like, I can't believe you were able to make it back from there, or maybe she just went straight to Africa and visited for a while and came back. But this answered the questions. And then how they had Trini's daughter find out that she was dead, like they had the argument in the house. The school is out. We need to figure this out. And I'm like, yeah. So maybe y'all shouldn't be talking about it because she knows she's gonna walk in and hear y'all, and then boom, she walks in and hears us. I'm like, come on now, really? That's how y'all gonna do this? Like y'all are rangers. Y'all whole lifestyle is hiding who you are. And according to your age, you've been doing this for over 30 years. You mean to tell me you didn't realize somebody's gonna walk into the door and hear y'all? It's just so then I'm like, you know what, Joe? Take all that out of your head. Take it all out of your head and just enjoy the show for what it is. I'm like, okay, let me do that. And I couldn't because it was not the Rangers that I grew up with. And I needed them to make a decision. Either you're going to make the decision and give us the adult version of the Power Rangers because we're all adults and we can take it, or you're going to give us the original Rangers and treat it like it was a kid show, like it was. You can't go back and forth. And they kill Trini and do something very adult, and then take it away and make it a kid, and then bring it back and bring in an adult, and then literally murder Rita Repulsa and then take it back. Not once, but twice. You stab her through the chest like it was a who got stabbed in the chest like that? Oh, what's his name from the original Avengers movie? The dude that got everybody together. And then he ended up having his own show on ABC. They got a Loki stabbed him right through the chest, or did he shoot him?
I don't remember who
No, yeah,
was.
Loki sent him to because Loki was in front of him and he shot Loki and he thought he had him, and then he goes like that because the thing shot him through the chest. And then what's his name in Avengers, the dude with the stone, him through the chest as well. That dude
Yeah,
came in out of nowhere.
yeah.
And now Rita Repulsa through the chest as well. And I'm like, how many times is this gonna keep happening to people? This is ridiculous. People need to turn around. And
I know.
so I I am trying to love it for what it was, and I it literally seemed like it was a all right, look, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get all the original characters together. Let's do that. All right, we got all the original characters, and like, oh no, we can't get Red Ranger because there's some stuff going on with him. Okay, he's out. All right, we're gonna have at least Pink Ranger gonna be back. She's gonna do this. Oh well, she wanted this amount of money. Well, we're not gonna pay that, so she's out too. So let's do that. Oh, we're so sorry, so and so passed away, and then on top of that, Trini already passed away. So you literally essentially what is that? Four Rangers that are the original Rangers you don't have. So now it's not even an original Ranger story except for Billy and Zach. So you got to make them the head of the whole episode. And I understand that, but it was not written, it wasn't written for the fans. It was written for people who want to be the fans. There was so much hidden stuff that you said you got the 7 out of the 10, but then you find out there's 100. I found out about the doggone the thing they destroyed at the grave site. The name is an actual name of an episode that they did where they were on a TV show teaching, and I'm like, I learned that, and that's really cool because I was like, there's a reason why that name is there. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, well, that dude passed away. I thought they were honoring somebody else that passed, but that dude is still very much alive that played him. So I was like,
Yes.
what's that about? It was like, well, because he did all these other episodes and he was involved. He was a monster in this, and he was a voice in this, and he did this, and he did this. He was really part of the Ranger dynamic for a long time. And then, like Brian Cranston, the actual real guy, he was a part of it. So that's why you get Billy Cranston in there and then the Cranston Institute or something like that to honor him. So you get all these little accolades of the thank yous, we appreciate it, and all those. And I love that. That's great. You can put as many as you want in there or the least amount you want in there, but give me the storyline that we've been looking for. There was not enough fighting in there. And when it wasn't them. I would have loved to see them lose their powers for the majority of the episodes and them actually have to fight, and then they get to suit up in the end. But they suited up from the very beginning, so that way we can't see Trini. And then 2 out of the 5 or 6 Rangers take off their helmets. That never happens. It only happens if you know you're trying to hide something. And I'm like, they made the story arc in such a way that we know that they're hiding something. And I'm like, you don't need to do that. You could have done a story just with Billy and Zach. That's it. And let's leave everybody else out. They go on some other mission where they end up taking the space buggy or whatever and go somewhere and do something to stop Rita, but nobody else is able to come, or something happens that prevents them from being able to be transported to help. Then you just have them. You don't have to do all this other rigmarole to sit there and make it happen, because the true fans are going to be fans for whatever you're going to do that's positive to the show. Even this, I watched it because I am a fan. So did you, because you're pretty much a super fan. And so did all the millions of people who decided to watch because they are fans. But don't sit there and hold our hands back like you don't think we don't know. And we do know. You could have just had an awesome storyline with Zach and Billy. It could have been a storyline where Billy's able to come back because they found a cure for him. And they decide, first thing I want to do is figure out how to get Zordon back, because since I'm back, he deserves to be back too. And they work on some kind of experiment or something, and they realize the only missing piece they need is on this off world, and they decide to go off and get it themselves, and they take Alpha with them. And in that, something happens, and Rita turns into that, and they have to do a big battle and fight. And Billy has some secret Zords that he always has on the side for just in case when it's only one Ranger. And then they call up the Grid Force there and use the Grid Force and bring other Rangers in to help to fight the battle. We would have loved that.
I would
That's the
really love
storyline I just
that.
created right now, and it would have worked.
Mhm.
I'm just saying that it was there. You didn't have to do this arc about Trini, because we all love Trini. Trini was amazing. We loved every episode that she was in. It was good to see Asian actors being utilized, not because they're Asian, but because they're great actors. And she was one of the first few to be able to do that. That's awesome. Don't honor her by having old pictures of her as if she never grew up all those years. It's the pictures from season one. Like, I'm sorry. So you have no pictures of you and your daughter together ever? So if you're gonna trick our mind, do the full thing, not the half act of it, of old pictures of Trini sitting on the thing, but no pictures of Trini and the daughter together. Her having the daughter, her growing up. You could have superimposed photos to do that if you're gonna make a Trini episode. But you don't have the technology or the money probably to do that. So either do it all the way or don't do it at all. Trini could have just been. Trini did not have to die. Why? I'm gonna stop there because I feel like I've been talking for like almost half the time. So you can do some rebuttaling. Go for it.
Well, I mean, I think that Trini dying, I think it is one of those things. Like now, fans have been bummed out about the fact that Tui Thang, who I think that's her real name, has passed away, and they've never added that to the canon of the story. I mean, like you said, it's not something they have to do, but as long as they don't, people are people are gonna be bummed out when they see any Yellow Ranger, knowing that their story. Oh, what story are they gonna make up for why she isn't here this time? They don't have to do that anymore. They don't have to make up stories for why Trini's not there. Trini passed away, as did her character. So they are retiring the entire character away, which is perfectly fine. Because people have, for the longest time, have gone back and forth on whether or not they should just recast Trini, and I think the majority of the fans never really wanted that. So even though I agree with you, they didn't necessarily have to kill her. That wasn't the only way to honor her. I respect their decision to do something. Because they've never addressed it. So I do want to give them their props for finally addressing it, finally doing something towards towards that itself. Um Now, when it comes to the other stuff, I do somewhat agree with you on the fact that they were kind of going back and forth when it's like they didn't really know how to go into this adult thing and still keep it kid friendly. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, our nephews, I don't think they're gonna watch it. And a lot of the younger kids, they aren't. Now, that's just the ones that I know. So I can say, I don't think there are going to be a lot of kids that are watching it, and they should have just went full force adult with it. Because all of those fans are 30 and up. Um, that saw it originally. But at the same time, you go to conventions and you talk to people, and they're just like, yeah, I sat my kids down, I made them watch the original series. I know they're into a lot of the newer ones, but now they're fans of Amy Jo Johnson and Jason David Frank and uh, David Yost and all of them. They're fans of all of them now. So I get that what Hasbro is trying to do, and I do believe that even though, like you said, it wasn't successful completely in doing it, I do believe that we as a fan base need to give them the room to explore, because this is a territory that no other company that's held the whole the reins of Power Ranger have ever ventured into. And I do believe that they are trying to find a way to come up with a Power Rangers that works for all audiences. Something that is adult enough to keep the adults sticking around, but
No,
not so adult that the kids can't come into the room. And I believe
that's
that they're
fair because I don't ever like cutting anybody off, and I hear your point.
yeah.
But how many versions of Spider-Man do we have where there's ones for adults, there's ones for teenagers, and there's ones for kids? There
Yes, but
that was on MTV at one point, and that's probably one of the better ones, but that was for the teenagers, and it wasn't for the kids, and the kids couldn't watch it. Then there's a the Spider-Mans that came on in the movie theater, and then those are for majority of everybody. But then there's a Spider-Man that's for the kids, where it's like little Spidey or whatever like that. I'm not watching that. It's for little kids. You
yeah,
can split it up. They could totally do an adult version of Power Rangers and then put it on Showtime, HBO Max, or whatever, and you can watch it that way. Then you can do the other version of Power Rangers that's on Netflix or Nickelodeon, or however you want to do it. Then you can do a cartoon version of Power Rangers that's on like the other local channels and things like that. You can do all the above when you have the money to do so. And in my opinion, they have the money to do so. I just think they just don't know how to do it properly. Not saying that, ooh, hire Joseph. He's going to tell you how it's supposed to get done. I don't know. I don't know what the rules and regulations, the restrictions and stuff, because at the end of the day, you are taking a show from another country and trying to pass it off as an American show. So I'm sure there are rules and regulations you got to abide by in order for that to happen, which means it kind of leaves like, is the final say from, is it Saban who says, okay, this gets approved? Or is there like, he has to take it to somebody in another country and be like, hey, this is what we want to do. Is this okay? Because then you get those rules and regulations, kind of like
yeah,
the whole entire process of what they did for Sega, when Sega was Sega of America. Anything they did, they had to get permission from the other country in order to be able to do that. And at one point, they said when they were doing the second Sonic the video game, they said his name is going to be Miles Miles Morales. That's what his name is going to be. And they're like, no, we should name him Tails because he has two tails. And they're like, no, it's going to be Miles. And this is what the other country wanted. His name is going to be Miles. Period. In the story. And they're like, no American kid is going to be calling him Miles. They're going to be calling him Tails. This is not going to work. So they got together and wrote a tiny little book about the story of Tails hating his two tails. And his name was Miles per hour. So it's like he meets up with Sonic. Sonic's like, hey, I'm going on adventure stuff. Do you want to come? He's like, no, I can't do anything to help because I'm horrible. All I have are these two tails. It's like, well, can you spin the tails fast? And he's like, yeah, he spins the tails fast. And they all end up going on an adventure. Tails ends up helping to save everyone. And they were like, Miles, you did such a great job. And he was like, yeah, but like, I wish it still didn't have these two tails. He's like, are you kidding me? The two tails is what saved us. Matter of fact, I'm not even gonna call you Miles anymore. I'm gonna call you Tails because that's how important you are and that's what you bring to the table. And then that's when they got on the idea of him being called Tails. So you have rules and regulations you have to abide by to say something's okay and something's not. And maybe that could be it for the Power Rangers, and that's fine. I'm totally okay with that. But I have seen so many episodes of Power Rangers where they can actually be really great actors and do some amazing graphics and some amazing storylines. And it's just as well a new season of Power Rangers will come out and it's just horrible to the point where even the audio is out of sync. And I'm like, what is going on? Or you have something like where Tommy can't get out of his suit for like half the season. Why are you stuck in a suit? Because he's under other contract obligations and he can't like participate in the show. That's why he's in the suit. So it's just like you have ways of going about little things you need to do. And I'm like, I can't believe this was the story that everybody approved of. Why did Aisha not fight? Like I'm saying, why was she
No.
even there? But I'm
No.
like, come on, like she time to boogie with the bear. It's just like her one-liners were always awesome. And
Yes.
then even is it Rocky or Adam? Adam's the one that was in the ship with her, right?
Yeah.
Adam is probably one of the best fighters ever. I would
Ever.
probably even say
Ever.
probably better than Tommy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you had him just standing for his lines? You could have put him in a suit and had him fight. I know he still got moves,
He
but
does.
instead, you decide to give us Rocky? And I'm like, I'm totally okay with Rocky. It was so good to see him because the last time we truly did get to see him, he was on his back because he was hurt. And I'm like, that's kind of messed up to have a storyline in that way. So it's good to
Yeah.
see him come back and say, I'm always going to be there to help regardless of what's going on. And he's a firefighter, which gives tribute to the actual real Red Ranger, who's a real firefighter in life. So
Yes.
it's like you have those little things in there to sit there and pay tribute to certain things. There's got to be something with that noodles. I know there is, but you have that, and I'm like, you can't have these other Rangers who are available to fight. Like they say we're 6 hours away, or 6 days away from being able to like get to you and help, or being able to morph and get to you. I
Yeah,
did.
they said 6 hours. I'm like, then let's hold off. Let's just wait.
Yeah, like, what were y'all waiting on? And in that 6 hours, it seems like a couple of days passed in the storyline. Like, am I wrong? It was it not like a day or two that passed? It seems that's what happened. But and then Rita was able to get all her battery charged from all the ones that she had. Like she technically didn't even need those Rangers anymore. She was getting enough battery power for them. And matter of fact, she never got those Rangers and had enough power to do what she needed to do. She didn't need to do anything. She didn't have to attack. She could have just chilled and waited. But I mean, they came to the base and all that. But it's just there was too many cracks. There was too many holes. Like it, if this storyline was a floor, you could not walk through that. You could not walk on that floor without falling through
That's
how many.
so awful.
And but the thing is, like I was expecting you to truly jump up, like no, 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 and argue with me. But you're hearing everything I'm saying. You're like, I can't really disagree with that because
No.
it's true. Like
Yeah.
it was an it was really cool to see all of them, but I really felt they should have taken more time for some more acting because I think they've forgotten how to act because they've been some of them have been decades since they'd even like held a script.
Yeah.
And I feel that because I'm like, how is it you were on a series for several seasons and your acting got better and better the more and more you were on the show, but now you're not, you're off the show, and it's almost like you're looking at like Fresh Prince of Bel Air first season where Will Smith is actually lipping the lines that someone else is saying. So like there are certain parts where you see Zach turn and look at someone and he's looking at them not like he's acting, but he's looking at them like they said, turn my head and look and hold the pose. Turn my head and look, hold the pose. And I'm like, that's not Zach. Zach never did that. Zach will put his head down, turn his head around, or look at the other Rangers and do stuff. But instead, it's like he's holding one pose. I'm like,
I mean,
I,
he's older. Things don't move the way they should. But anyway, I'm just gonna
wow.
say, no, I'm just kidding. But I feel like he was holding that pose because his knees hurt. But no, I was just gonna say, I also wanted to ask you a serious question though, because we're talking about the fact that you feel like they should do different series, and like we were talking about before, they have enough storyline to
Yeah,
do a kid series and
yeah,
an adult series and
yeah,
a teen series
yeah.
and a whatever, and so and we'd probably end up watching all three of them. But the thing about it is, the only thing that I can see as to why they're on the fence about doing that is, what if something happens that right now is the biggest thing is cancel culture. What if something happens in the adult series that parents don't really jive with? If the parents that are the fans of Power Rangers boycott Power Rangers, they're boycotting it and they're not going to want their kids to see even the kids' version. The adult series could screw it up for everything
No.
if they do it incorrectly.
If they do it incorrectly, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want to with Power Rangers, and you can try to do the cancel culture, but it's not gonna work when it comes to some series because again, they tried to cancel Harry Potter, and then the game came out, Hogwarts Legacy, and they truly showed everybody that we can do something without the main person being the main part of that. And now there's about to be a brand new Harry Potter TV series where they're going to redo Harry Potter all over again, but as a TV show. And it's going forward. Like you can't stop what people want at the end of the day. And I think there's always going to be a cancel culture about any and everything. One day someone's gonna be saying back then, Joe and James did on episode 2. You can hear the audio was choppy, but you can hear that here they said blah blah blah, and that's not allowed. So we need to cancel their 1000th episode. There's always going to be someone that's going to try and cancel whatever you're doing. But
Yeah.
if you let that be your stopping point to what you're trying to accomplish, it's just not going to work.
And now
Somebody
I
said,
don't believe that they should stop it. No, but I do believe that some of those reasons, Power Rangers has always been a kid show, and so my thing is them jumping into the adult territory might be a little bit iffy or touchy for them. Like you were bringing up Power Rangers, and I know they did it with Doctor Who and stuff like that, but those things were always geared towards adults, and then they made a bunch of kid stuff later on or along with it
no,
to go.
Spider Man was for the kids to begin with.
I don't
Spider Man was for little kids, and you seen what Spider Man has done in this last movie. That was adult. Period in the story. When you
but
sit
I
there,
mean, even from Uncle Ben dying, I don't think that's a kid story.
I think at that time in those years, it was easier for people to deal with. People don't deal with what they like. A good example, growing up, I drank from the hose of a water hose from the backyard. If I got thirsty because I was outside playing, I didn't want to go inside. I was always told there was nothing wrong with doing that. See a kid do that now, you don't. And then at the same time, we rode our bikes as kids. We didn't have helmets. See a kid do that now. It's like we've changed. We've grown up and seen what we are allowing to happen, what we're not going to allow to happen. And back then, those comic books were a lot more violent.
Yeah.
Superman came close to dying a heck of a lot more than he ever did now. And it's just like it was okay because they understood the culture at the time, they were able to handle it. The culture at this time is very different. So you got to cater to what the culture is. So, in my opinion, you have these spin-offs. You have things that are for adults, you have things that are for kids. And you just, as long as you market and label as such, hey, this Power Rangers on HBO, it's for adults only. You come into this party, you best recognize it. It's gonna be some adult content happening. And then like,
Yeah.
hey, but this Power Rangers over here, you can go ahead and watch as much as you want. And that's what they do for all those series. They actually put the word kid or something cartoony on it to let you know what's safe and what isn't without really having to say it. So you can do that. But
And with them being a new company, they could literally, and I think this is the part where I where I do 100, not 100%, but I do agree with you on certain aspects, and that is the fact that with Hasbro taking over, they write the rules now. It's theirs. It's their company, and even though they do have to pay homage to Japan, we don't know the rules about creating content and going back and forth. I believe Hasbro is going into a territory where they want all of their stuff to be like this special, where none of the scenes were from the Japan version.
yeah, yeah.
And I think they're going into an era where they're just like, we're done reusing that old film. We want to do new stuff. We want to do our own stuff made here. And we're going to do our own thing. And so I um I feel like they should be writing their own rules. I think somebody needs to tell them that they have the book and they need to start writing. They don't, even though that's the only reason I agree with a lot of your critiques, is the fact that the fans would have been even more excited about this special if it didn't pay homage to any of the old stuff in the past. If they did decided to go their own route and have it be something new and creative and
Hmm.
different, they would have loved that a lot more, because we love the nostalgia, but let's be honest, it's 30 plus years. we could, if we want to see the old stuff, we have full rights on Netflix to go back and see the old stuff. We want to see the old characters
Yes.
in new situations. We
Yes.
want to see the old stuff in a new way. And they gave us bits and pieces of it, but it wasn't to the level that we wanted.
Right.
And that's the part that I can completely agree with you on. But I think the one thing that we both agree with is the fact that uh, this is not the stopping point. This is not the point where we want them to stop making content. This is the point where we want them to take this and level it up. The next time we see something that they do, we want it to be on the next level. We want it to be on that level of give us the best storyline, give us the best acting, give us the best graphics, give us everything. Now that you know that everyone will tune in simply because you put the name Power Rangers on it, give us a reason to come back.
I need numbers. I'm kind of gonna end it on that. I need numbers. I need to know who watched it because it's I don't know how it's being presented to you when you're watching reviews on YouTube, but I'm not seeing too many people that's been like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best thing I've ever seen." It's been like, "It was good to see everybody again." And I'm like, that's what makes me nervous because you got to kill it coming out of the gate or it gets stopped and you're done. And this could be their end. And I'm like, if this is how you guys are going to end it, I would have rather you ended it on the original series that I watched and I would have been content with that. But if you're going to end it like this, it's kind of sad. There's like I can't figure that part out, but I want to see the numbers. Now, if the numbers are there, they come back and like, you know what? Over 5 billion people watch this mess. We're gonna sit there and do some serious things with this. Blah blah blah. We're gonna keep it going. Then I'm great. I can't wait to see it. As long as they put the work behind it.
Yes.
If it's going to be another series where it's just like this one, I can tell you right now that I'm good. Like, I don't think Amy Jo Johnson is like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have been in that. I think it's more like, whew, I might have dodged a bullet. And I don't know what her mindset is. It could have been like, oh, that was cute. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad I'm not in it. Or it could have been like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. There are too many mixed emotions about it. You and I watched Power Rangers at the exact same time at different ages. You and I both have a different nostalgia about it. And you and I both have different expectations of how it should be when it comes to watching this special.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we both agree that it could have been done better.
Yeah.
And um, we would like to see them do it better.
Yeah.
And I think we can both
100%.
agree on those two things. And I'm like, as long as I think everyone is under that same format,
They
they should
are.
continue it and then give everybody what they want. Because I need more Alien and Rangers of Aquitar. I feel like they were dubbed not getting their own series. Um,
Yes.
Psycho Rangers, I want them back, and I want them back hardcore. Build them,
Yes.
make them stronger. If you can bring back Rita, and I don't feel like Rita should have been dead. I feel like there should be a piece of her. So, Goldar needs to grab that piece and build another one, or merge her with Lord Zed in some way and do some serious damage. But like, that's how we're gonna end it, folks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. We love doing this. We love speaking about stuff, and
Oh,
I
yes.
can't tell you that me and James are foaming at the mouth to get to this episode to talk about because I know James has like a ton of, if it's not a bunch of note paper with a bunch of notes on it, I know his computer is like full of stuff. That, yeah, see, exactly. 'Cause I knew he was going to come hard on this. And I was like, I have to watch what I'm going to say. But I gave him an episode. I gave him a whole episode. I even
Yeah.
took myself, made him full screen. So it was just y'all doing what y'all need to do before I came in and tried to cut all this stuff up. But tune in next week for some more episodes. We enjoy what we're doing. Always keep
Hmm.
it locked and loaded with information for you guys. So take care and have a blessed one. All right. See you later.
Bye, you guys.